Sup, y'all? I am your host, Tayler Onion, and this is Hang Time, where we focus on amplifying the stories of women in sports. We are back this week with Carol Hopfinger, who competes for arch rival roller derby right here in St. Louis. Carol, welcome. Let's get some Hang Time.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. So you reached out to me about a month or so ago, and you shared a little bit about you being the co-chair of Arch Rival, as well as a blocker for the All-Star team since 2017.
Correct. Yes.
I know nothing about roller derby, so I would love to start there and just have you share a little bit about what it is for people like me who don't know.
Yeah.
And then we'll jump into more specifics on the team.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know about roller derby in the extent that it is played currently. People might think about maybe the movie Whip It, where it's a bank track and it's crazy costumes and people are throwing punches on the track, or possibly, the WWE style that was on TV in the 70s and 80s. While there are maybe some weird leagues like that in the South that still play like that, we actually play flat track derby. So the rule set that we play under is the WFTDA, so Women's Flat Track Derby Association.
Okay.
There are 450 leagues internationally, so over 6 continents that play.
Oh my gosh.
Arch Rival here in St. Louis is actually ranked number 1 according to Flat Track Stats.
Amazing.
And so it is a full contact sport. We train very hard for it. And the game is basically played with 5 people from each team on the track, 4 blockers, 1 jammer. The jammer is designated with a star on their helmet.
Okay.
And whistle blows, everyone starts skating. The goal is for your jammer to get out first. And so the blockers are playing offense and defense at the same time. And then once that jammer gets out, they are going to start scoring points by passing the opposing team on their next pass, by passing that opposing blocker with their hips. So it's broken up into 2 30-minute halves, and then each half has a bunch of different jams. So the jams can go up to 2 minutes, but if you're out first as a jammer, you can call it off at any time. So you can just use that as a strategy. So if the other jammer gets out right behind you, you can call off the jam right away, so you can make sure that they are not scoring points. So it's a very rule-heavy sport. So I played a lot of sports growing up, where you're able to set up your plays and you can take your time. And this, you use the rule set as part of your gameplay, which is very, very interesting for anyone that is very interested in watching sports. Especially, some people compare it to hockey, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Very rule heavy.
It's so funny that you said the WWE is what most people think of. When I was telling my mom earlier, she was asking what I was doing today. So I was sharing this interview, and she's like, oh, we used to watch that on TV back in the day. And it was kind of like, I would compare it to the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you just brought that up. So the way I'm understanding it is that there's no ball or anything, there's no goals, anything like that. You're literally just skating around this flat track, and the jammer, however many laps they get around everyone, is the amount of points.
It's each opposing blocker. So if there's 4 blockers from the other team and they are able to pass 2 of them, they get 2 points.
Ooh, okay.
So you can also get a point for if there's somebody in the penalty box at the time. So they would get a point, like a pocket point, basically. So even though they're not technically on the track, that point would count at the end of that jam. So
being a fast skater, in theory, if you're a jammer in particular, helps.
100%. So it's interesting because, a lot of us, there's a strange dynamic as far as people that participate in roller derby now too, because a lot of us do have a sports background. Not everybody. Like I played basketball, I played volleyball, I played rugby in college. I always really enjoyed playing defensive positions. So I love being a blocker. I love having a lockdown on the jammer. A lot of our jammers, several of them have soccer backgrounds. We have a couple former figure skaters that play as a jammer, so they've got that great, footwork to spin around the opposing blockers, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you're fast, great. Speed skating, perfect. Please play roller derby.
Yeah.
You're just going from an inline to quads, so it's a little bit different in that aspect.
How did you get started playing roller derby?
So, my son was little. I was working a ton of hours, coming home, being 100% mom when I was at home, but I was still missing something.
Sure.
I tried scrapbooking, definitely not for me.
Slightly different,
a little bit different, but and I didn't realize I was missing playing a sport. And one of my friends was like, "Hey, did you know that they have this thing called roller derby?" And I'm like, no clue. So she's like, "We should do it." And then she moved to Texas. And so I went ahead and watched a game anyways. And I was like, this totally looks like something I would do. And I think the first game I went to, it might have been with my sister, and she was like, "Yeah, this is something that looks like you." And so went with my husband, and he was like, "Oh, yep, this is something that we're going to get involved in." And so I had planned on just doing it for a couple of years. We have a local season too, so I just planned on playing local, kind of like intramural league, doing it for a little bit. And so I started with their, newbie course, joined in November of 2013. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm really, really competitive. And so 2017 was my first year on the All-Stars. And so now this year we're going to Malmo, Sweden for champs. So it's been quite the whirlwind. So
I can't imagine. It sounds that way. I want to talk about the kind of international competition as opposed to some of the local and even the more regional stuff too. But before I do that, so you mentioned when you came in, you can call me Carol, you can call me Cruella. Tell me about the nicknames. How did you get yours? And does everybody have one, or how does that work?
So you can pick your derby name if you want to. So some people do skate under their government names. But I chose Cruella. I have a natural white streak in the front of my hair. I live in Belleville, so my original derby name was Cruella Belleville. I dropped the Belleville because everyone just said Cruella Belleville, and it sounded kind of boring.
They didn't get the DeVille, Belleville.
I'm just Cruella now. My teammates just call me Crew. Makes it nice and easy on the track. We have some folks like Erin Go Brawl. She's Irish.
Sure.
Pork chop slamwich. Some of my favorite names, Lux Furious. So Vicious Van Gogh.
Okay.
So it's really whatever you want it to be. Of course, a lot of times your names just get shortened. So Vicious Van Gogh, we call her Vish. Erin Go Brawl, Brawly, whatever, we yell on the track. So
nice.
If somebody calls somebody by their real name, we're like, who is Katie? Like, I don't know who Katie is. So right. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's just like an added element of artistic expression in there, which is super cool as well. So you talked a little bit about Malmo, Sweden. I also saw that the team got gold at the North America Northeast Regionals in Lansing, Michigan. And then you mentioned you're preparing to compete at this. This is the biannual Women's Flat Track Derby Association that's happening in Sweden.
Yes. So since we came back from COVID, champs used to be every year. Okay. And so since coming back from COVID, everything was a little bit different, a little weird. So we've only had one championship since then, and that was in 2024 where we won silver. This year was pretty neat because this was the first year our B team, the Arch Nemesis, made it to regionals. So super proud of them. They did great. And then we obviously won gold there. So we earned our number 1 seed at championships for Malmo, Sweden. So that's going to occur at second or third weekend in October. I think it's like over October 16th through the 18th is when we'll be competing there.
Okay, very good. Now I have to know about the B team. So arch rivals A team, arch nemesis, B team.
And then we also have an arch enemy, which is our C team. So last year was the first year they were a sanctioned team. So they were a new addition because our league is pretty big. And then we also have a D team. So that's our developmental team. And they are the Fleur Delinquents.
Okay, the Fleur Delinquents. I like that one.
Yes.
They're all, of course, creative and related, but the Fleur Delinquents. That's a fantastic name.
Yeah.
So tell me about, have there always been these 4 teams since you've been involved? Has it just grown so much in terms of the interest that people have in it that you've had to add more? How does that work?
The C team, the arch enemy, is new.
Okay.
So the other 3 teams have been around since I have been in the league. A little bit different setup. So Arch Nemesis had a different name up until about 8 years ago. And they changed it. We were the Luna Chicks, so just making it a little bit more streamlined with the league persona. And then, of course, we also have 4 local teams too.
Okay.
So, and those have also changed since after COVID. We did have to kind of restructure a little bit. We did have several retirements after COVID. We had, a lot of downtime. We weren't practicing. Obviously,
Sure.
our hands are going into people's faces and in their mouths and stuff. So COVID was not a great time for a lot of that. So, but yeah, so the 4 teams are great. Everyone travels within certain distances. We find different teams, different leagues in the area and externally that we can travel to that are, within the same ranking within flat track derby stats or within the WIFTA track stats.
Interesting. How often are you competing locally compared to like the Michigan tournament or championship? And then in Sweden, obviously, that's going to be a big one.
Right. So I kind of compare our travel season to like a hockey season because hockey season's long, right? So travel season, we usually have tryouts like February, March. Gameplay starts in April and generally runs through October. Our local season usually starts in January and goes through April.
Okay.
So intramural local season is just within our league. So all levels of skaters are broken up into 4 different teams. So we have the Lafayette Scare, we have the Jewel Boxers, the Fabulous Foxes, and then the best team, my team, the Botanical Guardians.
Ooh.
So
really great St. Louis names all around.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun because then it's also really great too because then every level of skater gets a lot of playtime. So and every level goes out together. So you get a mix of different skill levels and everyone gets to learn while they're on the track.
Okay. Do you find that there is kind of a like pocket of ages as far as those who are represented, or is it all like super young and then all the way, like what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we also have a junior league too. So junior starts at 7 and it goes through, I mean, technically they can go through 18 if they're finishing up their season and they turn 18 during that time. But then we have age-out juniors that join our league too. So we do have a couple that just, actually 3, I think, that just joined us last season. From our juniors. And then we do have, I think our oldest skater is I don't want to say who it is in case I don't want everyone to know, but I think she's 57 that just started.
Amazing.
I'll be 50 myself next year. So there's a large range of ages. So, and it's a really, that's kind of why Derby's so interesting because it's every age group is represented there. And body sizes, it doesn't matter, like shape, sizes, heights, it doesn't matter. Like there is a spot for everyone on the track. And it's also very interesting with the juniors now too, because of the time frame that Derby has started and has been around for. You're seeing a lot of those juniors aging out. And so a lot of these higher level teams competing are folks in their 20s, so there's definitely a shift in that age group. So it'll be really interesting to see what Derby becomes over the next few years.
That is interesting. When in talking to my mom earlier, she's talking about, we used to watch that on TV. I can't think of a time that, and maybe this is a shift too in streaming culture and things like that, as opposed to just having what was on was your choice to watch TV. But do you think that's played a role at all in terms of having kind of like maybe a little bit of an older demographic and then you're seeing this shift now into the 20-year-olds? Or what do you think is the cause for that?
I don't know. It's something I've noticed within Arch Rival. I did used to coach our juniors too up until a couple of years ago, but a lot of our more wise skaters, I guess, that have joined recently, their kiddos were junior skaters or they became interested because their kids were skating.
Interesting.
And I think that's really neat too, because usually you would think it might be the opposite. Like, I'm skating, so, my son's going to start skating. Sure. And, that doesn't necessarily happen. So, and it's also, Derby is still online. It's just different formatting. So we did actually get to play a game on AWSN. So,
the All Women's Sports Network.
So it's been about a year ago. Actually, I think we played in August last year in Portland, Oregon. Okay. So they do have that on there. We're on, of course, there's tons of videos and stuff on YouTube, Pluto, all that type of stuff. So it's definitely there for younger folks to see. So it's
Yeah, how your interest level got into it to begin with. In my research for our conversations, I mentioned at the beginning of this, I really don't know anything about roller derby other than it's roller skates. I knew that much. But I found that the community in general is kind of rooted in this space of empowering specifically women, but really anybody who competes in terms of just being in that space. So what is it, I want to know from your perspective, that creates that kind of community feeling within roller derby and leads to maybe some of the confidence that we see from anybody who's been a part of the team or a part of that roller derby community?
right. So we don't just embody like women's sports. We welcome non-binary, all gender identities within the WFTDA. So there's something about roller derby in general that is, as an adult, it's really hard to meet new friends, right? Like, and there's something about joining this sport, and I don't want to say it's like a club, but it's this sport. It's like automatically you have a group of people. There are so many different types of folks in this league and in this organization across the world that you could probably look at somebody and be like, I bet you they play derby, just because they just seem friendly, they seem welcoming, they seem non-judgmental. It is just, again, like everybody, every type of figure, every type of stature, every gender, every race, everything is welcome here. And it's empowering because it's like, I mean, we're hitting each other, like, and we hit each other pretty darn hard. So, we're like, oh, sorry, and it's like, oh, it's okay, or like, oh my God, you really hit me hard. Like, look at this huge bruise you just gave me from last week. So I don't know. There's just something about it that it's like, if I had an issue and I was like, hey guys, like my basement just flooded, I'll be right there. Like everyone would drop what they're doing and come and help me. So it's just really neat. Like everyone is there for each other immediately.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast over the weekend, The Happiness Lab, that was talking about, the title of the episode was something about like men need to make more friends and they need bromance. The episode itself was heavy on the focus for this kind of male loneliness epidemic, but also just, I thought, had some good stuff in there about adult friendships in general. To your point, it's not something we think about. Like in our 20s, we're in these spaces where we're in college and you're surrounded by so many people who are your age. And I've seen this a lot from student athletes throughout my career, where we hit that graduation point and then you're like, oh, now my best friend is a 50-year-old coworker, but I don't have anybody else that's kind of my age. And they're not really built in community. They're just a coworker. Sometimes they're, you can be friends with your coworkers too, but not in the same way that you might be with a teammate or with somebody outside of that space. So I love to hear just the inclusivity that's happening within roller derby.
Well, and especially travel season, it's like we go away, we stay in a hotel together. We are like, our captains assign rooms. So we've got 4 people to a hotel, and it's kind of like, you're hanging out with your besties on the weekend. It's like, weekend vacay trip, we're just playing games in between. So it's, chilling out in your hotel, laughing in your hotel room bed, going to the hot tub, like just being silly, playing stupid games. And, even the other night at practice, we were talking, what we were talking about, but I was like, just saying how I could not believe that I have a hard time believing how old I am sometimes, because everyone I play with is like in their 30s. And I keep forgetting I'm not still like 35, because it just makes me I feel at home with all of these people. So it's just casual. It's relaxing. Like you just feel at home regardless.
There's so many advantages to playing sports in general, but I think particular to team sports. I was a volleyball student athlete. I played at the University of Illinois in college. And so my teammates, I just was with them. I've been with them all summer because they've all been getting married. But I think the thing that we focus so much on while we're in that experience is, of course, you want to be good. And we won a lot of our matches. And we had a lot of good seasons as well. But the things that now, being this far removed out of those experiences, the things we're instantly talking about are not, hey, do you remember when we won this match? Or do you remember when we lost to Nebraska because of this technicality, whatever it was? we're talking about, hey, remember when our athletic trainer ran to the locker room and the athletic trainer kit was bouncing all over the way? You know, it's these funny kind of stories that we have, these shared experiences that were organic in the moment just because we were all involved with the team and on the team.
Right.
That's one of my favorite parts of sports, and we don't talk about it, I think, enough.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. So in the email you sent me, you mentioned that the team is self-funded. So when you're going to Sweden, when you're going to Michigan, when you're going regionally or locally or wherever, you're funding all of that yourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you help to alleviate some of that pressure for maybe folks who want to be on the team or involved with the team, but they can't necessarily afford to go to Sweden?
Right. So, I mean, we are very fortunate where our league is very well run. Our board of directors make sure that everything is structured in a way to assist at least with the hotel costs. Each travel team is responsible for raising a certain amount of money every year to help cover those costs. And we do have some really amazing sponsors too every year. Like Jennifer McCleary, she is a doctor at Triad Chiropractic. And not only does she sponsor our league, she helps keep us healthy. She comes out and volunteers
a double bonus.
Massages us, cracks us, whatever she needs to do. Like her acupuncture is amazing. And Sugar Witch, a whole bunch of other places that sponsor us. So that's a huge help right there. S1 is a protective gear company that for roller derby. And so we're fortunate that they also sponsor our league. So we do get some free gear from them as well. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everything else is funded through just different fundraisers, So we do a lot of, at least for the All-Stars, we do boot camps for different leagues in the area. We just had Ann Arbor here a couple weekends ago to play our B, C, and D team. And so that following Sunday, we had a boot camp for them led by the All-Stars to teach them some little tips and tricks that we do. We've got a couple others coming up this year too. So of course, we're always looking for sponsorships if anybody's interested. So, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, you're budgeting throughout the year. I know I kind of keep in mind how much, I'm able to do throughout the year because I do play for some other kind of pickup teams. Sure. So if they, they had something in Louisiana earlier this year and I'm like, I'm out. I can't do it. I've already got to go to Sweden this year. So that's going to be a big cost. And my husband's coming with me for that. So that's a double cost. So, but yeah, so I mean, the league does help out as much as they can, but obviously there's going to be, some restrictions with that too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's, I want to come back and talk about the kind of you being the membership co-chair. How do you recruit folks to come in and be a part of the team? But while we're on the topic of Sweden, I took Swedish 3 semesters of it in college.
And you should come with us then.
Maybe I should. I don't know that I could be like a full-time translator, but jättebra is like really great. That's super good. So I could give you a cheer or something to say when you score points.
That would be awesome.
And I think I'm hungry, I'm thirsty would be jag är hungrig, jag är törstig. So you should be covered with those 3.
Yep. Because we are always hungry.
Yes,
we are always thirsty.
I believe it. I believe it. So let's come back then to the membership piece. So you're the co-chair of that. Yep. How do you recruit folks to the team? Is there a certain roster limit that you carry? What does that look like from maybe for the top team, but also for the BCD as well?
So I do co-chair membership for the league.
Oh, okay.
Me and Sheesh, so we co-chair. So we kind of help with the intake of new skaters as well as transfers. So once a year, one of our skaters, Sin, they will handle a new skater course. So we have new skater course for 6 weeks. And I think they just revamped it all. So it's usually for 6 weeks, like in January. And then the new skater course goes into new derby skating class. So then after they're done with derby, if they graduate from that, they're welcome to join the league. So I think this year we had about 25 new skaters join after taking our new skater and new derby class. So we had to intake all of them. And then otherwise, we don't take new skaters in throughout the year, but we do have a lot of people that will transfer in. So that's all done throughout the year. We don't really recruit folks throughout the year like that.
Sure.
But transfers do just come to us naturally. People finishing up school, maybe just moving to the area. We do have a lot of people that will transfer to us specifically because maybe they've outgrown their local league. And there's, Midwest is best for us because there's not a lot of Midwest high level teams. It's us, Windy City, Minnesota has a good league. So it is hard if you're in some of those more rural areas to find a spot. We have one person that travels from Mount Zion, Illinois, so that's like 2.5 hours away.
Gosh.
So she travels to play with us. She still lives there, so she commutes back and forth.
Wow.
So we do have those type of transfers. So we handle all of that, drop-in skaters. So we might have some college students come in over the summertime too. So
interesting. Yeah. And then as far as each team, so for let's say the All-Stars, you've got 10, 12 who are total on the team, or what does that look like?
So we have tryouts for all of those teams. So it generally runs, All-Stars will try out first, and then the B team try out, C team, and so forth. So there are 20 charter members for each travel team.
Oh, wow.
And 15 of those charter will get rostered for each game.
Okay.
And so we have been introducing practice players the last several years too. So I think we have 5 practice players this year, which is great. So they are usually like our, the top players for like our arch nemesis. So they will be, primarily arch nemesis skaters, but they get to come to the private practices for the All-Stars. And then there will also be crossover skaters. So sometimes you'll be an All-Star skater, but you also skate for the nemesis.
Okay.
So you get to skate for both teams. It's a lot more intense for those skaters because they have a lot more expectations because they have more practices to attend, more meetings to attend, so more games to participate in.
Right.
So
all the above.
Yeah, it's a big commitment for them.
I can imagine that it would be. I'm going to shift kind of into our final couple of questions here. So for somebody who's never seen it live, what do you wish that they understood about the sport? And what usually surprises people the most when they do and come see it live?
It is a serious sport. I mean, we do not elbow people. We do not headbutt people. My old trainer used to say, are you going to do a flying headbutt? No, Gary, no flying headbutts today. We train hard for this. I mean, it's not just, a couple practices a week. We have off-skate practices, we stretch, we take care of our bodies, we eat, specifically for the sport. It's just like any other college sport, professional sport. It's just instead of getting paid for it, we are paying to do it. So it is, we spend a lot of time and commit a lot of ourselves to this sport. And, it's a big deal for us. And, it's not a phase. And it would be great, like if people came and just watched and gave it a chance. It may seem confusing at first when you come to watch it, but if you love defense and you love hard hits and like fast-paced games, this is the sport for you to come and watch.
I love that. All right. This is the namesake of the show. If you could get some hang time with any woman in sports, who would it be and why?
Elena Mar. She's just great, right? Just her body positivity, and she's just hilarious. I just adore her. So
yeah,
if you want to come and watch Derby with us, we can have you anytime.
Love it. And then you can be on hang time.
Yeah.
So it'll be a twofer. Fantastic. All right, where can listeners get involved? Where can they support or follow you or Arch Rivals?
Yeah, so Arch Rival is we're actually hosting a tournament coming up in August 21st, 22nd, so at Queenie Park in Baldwin, Missouri. And then we are also on all the social medias, just Arch Rival Roller Derby. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So
all the places.
Yep.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Carol Cruella, so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and join me today. This has been fun.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, we will see you back in a couple of weeks. Until then, you can follow along at HangTimeP0D across socials, hangtimep0d.com. We'll see you next time.